Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Magicbricks Webinar Series. Endeavor to trigger a buy and bring back consumer confidence in the real estate market. We have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of real estate industry. The topic of today's session is Impact of Governance on Property Values. Our guest speaker today is Mr. V Suresh, former CMD HUDCO and advisor Good Governance India Foundation and Muncipalika. Mr. Suresh is a civil engineer from Anna University with over 51 years of experience in housing, urban development, and infrastructure and real estate sector. He had earlier stints with Tamil Nadu Public Works Department and Bureau of Indian Standards and associated with National Building Code work, and is now the Vice Chairman for NBC 2015. He has served HUDCO in various capacities and was CMD till June 2002, during which period HUDCO registered all-round growth in housing and retail finance, innovative infrastructure development financing, appropriate technology applications, and national network of building center and disaster rehabilitation projects. He has won many awards including Doyen of Construction Industry, CIDC, and IBC Lifetime Achievement Award. Along with him, I also welcome E. Jayashree Kurup, Head Content and Research, Magicbricks. She has been a business journalist for over 2 decades with the Times of India, the Economic Times, and the Financial Express. She forayed into research in 2002. She's a regular guest columnist with a number of established media, including the Times of India Group and others. We will start the session with the presentation by our experts. Over to you, Jayashree.
Thank you, Neha. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the Magicbricks webinar. Today we have been talking about real estate and what you should look forward to when you buy real estate. This time we're doing a little more than that. We said that if you purchase real estate, and here we're talking a lot about residential real estate, if you buy a house of your own, how do you get the best values out of your, the best returns out of your real estate investment? There are many things that you should look for, not only the quality of the product, how it is maintained and so on, but also the city it is in, the locality it is in, and how that is maintained, because that also has a huge impact on your purchase and the returns that it generates. Let me invite Mr. Suresh to start the presentation.
Good afternoon to all our viewers. The impact of governance on real estate value. The most important thing is what is the focus on buying projects with. All the statutory approvals from the central, state and local authorities should be there. If that is done, property values are great. And most important, the credible builder's track record. We have good ones, bad ones, indifferent ones. But the one which will stand the test of time is the one who has produced the product and which we can be proud of. And there should be very transparent, clear documentation of issues such as carpet area, super built-up area, what you're paying for. And more importantly, have you got all the approvals before you finally get the particular building in terms of occupation certificate, lift certificate from the electricity authority, etc. And after the maintenance purchase is over, the one which will give you increased value is real good professional asset maintenance, whether Resident Welfare Association or through a good asset and facility management company to do that. And more importantly, a good quality of facilities for security, water, power and other related services. Equally important are the issues that we should look in this particular case is the issues of social infrastructure. It is not walls and the roof of the building alone. Do you have the right level of health, education, recreation, cultural facilities there nearby? It is a hospital, healthcare, schools for your children, a place where you can go for recreation and some facilities for sports, etc. And more importantly, commercial infrastructure for all your shopping needs, your office needs, your banking needs, etc., etc. And you have access to good transport infrastructure for your urban mobility, and most importantly, the quality civic infrastructure equally. That's why I use the word governance here, which Some of them are done by the builder, some other are done by the local body itself, a municipal corporation or a municipality or a new town development corporation. Jayashree,
now how does
what impact it makes, Jayashree?
Now how does civic facilities impact your property values? See, property values are a very powerful indicator of the level of governance in your city. If there is any intervention in terms of water supply, drainage, sewerage, waste management, power and telecom services, all this results in rising values in that locality. In some cases, if this doesn't happen, it's just a dropping values in your locality, and therefore the lower returns on your investment. Safety and security for your family in the building and the built environment, which means within your gated community as well as outside that, within the locality. So that it's not only whether you have a little tuck shop within your own building, but you also need to know that if you step out of that gate, you should still be safe. It should be well policed. There should be good quality street lighting and so on.
For the family, women and children, more important.
For the women and children, for the older parents whom you leave behind when you go back to work, these are all very important measures which impact the quality of your return. This can also be, these values can be used to measure the success of your government. Let me give you some examples about how this impact is felt. You all know that Chennai had the worst floods of the century, or even more than a century. Demand dropped in localities like Velachery by about 6%. This is what we figured out through the values that are on Magicbricks. Immediately after the floods exposed, the poor drainage facilities were there in the locality. Dwarka, on the other hand, topped the list of preferred localities in Delhi when the Delhi metro line became active there. It has also shown an uptick when the government announced that they are setting up a water treatment plant which would ease the water woes. In Gurgaon, the golf course road, after during the infrastructure construction of the rapid metro line and the underpasses, there has been a drop in the rental values there because it is unusable. The road is unusable. It is inconvenient to stay in. Rental demand is resurfacing in Ashok Nagar in Hyderabad after a major drainage work was undertaken. Users of some premium housing complexes in Gurgaon have protested against dumping of municipal waste in the forest behind the Aralyas, a premium residential development, and the DLF golf course, as it is leading to poor living conditions. You know, a school teacher in Dwarka is leading a battle to revive a defunct water body there because that adds to the quality of her lifestyle. The occupancy in South City Arcade in Gurgaon rose after a water harvesting project got rid of the waterlogging outside the retail facility. And in Edapalli in Ernakulam, lower values were posted, which brokers say is probably because of weak solid waste management.
Well, I think all this will happen if good civic facilities we should be worried about, concerned about. Are we able to get the water supply in terms of not only quality of water to drink, right level of quantity, and hours of service? Many cities are once in 2 days, it will come for an hour late in the night, but you require as close to 24/7. If not all cities have that, at least every day 2 to 3 hours if you are able to get the water is very important. Power, very important. Nothing can happen if you don't have power there. Quality of service in terms of the voltage and the frequency of the power. You don't want it will break up all your white goods. Backup power is equally important for large townships which can't entirely depend on the grid power. Most important, transportation linkages, road transport, metro links, best services, and more importantly, autos and cabs, dependable one, is equally important. The frequency at which you can get, you can't wait for long periods. Good street lighting is a very important component, especially night, for you to move around. Drainage and sewerage, most important, because see now how many townships are failed because of one aspect of drainage and sewerage. Sometimes both of them mixing each other, the sewage mixing with the water. And for all that particular one, you look at a good spatial planning for all amenities and facilities. In terms of spaces there, not only within your township there or a gated community, but also outside. You cannot get all the schools and hospitals within your own thing, but even if you're able to get within a reasonable distance, it will be a good component to go by. And some other impact that the Chennai floods that has gone, I understand from Magicbricks data, they are able to get some interesting information.
The data shows that people are either moving out of areas affected by the flood or are looking for rental options in the same locality till their homes become livable. So let me give you some statistics. Heavily affected areas like Taramani, OMR, Perumbakam, Vilivakam, Tiruseri, Tambaram West witnessed about a 19% drop in searches for rental homes. On the other hand, in Alandur, Maraimalai Nagar, Triplicane, Krompet, Oragadam, rental searches are up by more than 200%. People are looking for temporary options till their houses are restored to living conditions. And they'll do it in places where there is no drainage problem. Now the consumers are asking the right questions. We went to the Magicbricks forum and figured out what are the kind of queries that people ask. And I'm here going to ask Mr. Suresh to comment on what kind of queries, what kind of answers should be given to consumers when they raise queries like this. In sanitation and waste, there is, let me just quickly go through the queries. I'm an NRI planning on Kelambakam. Is it a good area to invest? Are there problems, living problems like sanitation?
Very genuine question by Chetan, and I think it's an area where you should have a clear-cut solution. Not only in terms of three components will come: toilets and disposal, your sewage system to take care of the overall disposal of the sewage and sullage, and more importantly, the waste management. There are three components coming into sanitation. Good health is covered by that, and I think it's the right question to ask. And unless we have answers on that particular thing, Chetan should definitely be asking for the solutions on that.
And Rathod from Mumbai asks, possession of shops have been handed over by the builder, but there is no sanitation or water supply. We are really desperate to rent the shop. How do I solve this issue?
I think it's a matter the builder has got to see that when facilities of shops and other amenities are there in your own complex, it is not only the housing property but also the related support services, neighborhood shopping and all that should also get all the facilities, power, water, sanitation. Otherwise, it can be a wretched thing while you have a top-class residential building there, but not the services being provided.
Absolutely. Now we have a query from Ghaziabad. Is there any plan of making garbage or solid waste sites near the crossings to Kartik? Can you give me some information about it? What he's actually asking is, should I consider this before buying my house in the crossings?
Absolutely. Either this is an area where you get two hands to clap. Not there is something that the resident welfare association, your own, starting from your own house, of not only the separation of the biodegradable as well as the other waste, which is wet waste and the dry waste, and a way to door-to-door collection or flat-to-flat concern and taking it for disposal. And we should have a very clear-cut arrangement for that particular one. We have known many cases where good waste management has really brought out good property values up, and also negatively, as this gentleman has rightly raised a question for Ghaziabad.
Absolutely. And there is a query from Pune. I'm planning to buy a 2 BHK flat in Puneville, Pune in a pre-launch offer. I hear that a garbage depot is coming up near this project. I'm not sure how it's going to impact.
It's going to no-no for me. It will be a no-no for me unless we have arrangements to get this removed, because you have issues of stench coming out. You also have the problem of flies and mosquitoes and other things coming, stray dogs coming over there. It can be a bad location unless we make arrangements to see that there is a good amount of arrangements to take care of the garbage depots, cleanliness issues, which will not affect the hygiene and sanitation of the neighboring township.
Now there are some queries about water supply. There is a Kolkata buyer who wants to buy a 2 BHK in near Baliganj or Taliganj and wants to know whether which location would be best, and looking for 24-hour water supply, lift, parking, etc. With a budget of 20 to 30 lakhs.
Lift and parking is in the control of, to a large extent, by the builder himself with backup power. But 24-hour water supply will depend upon, you're depending upon the municipal water service or your own source water supply, which you can do for backup as well. But in Indian context, even if you don't get 24/7 power, even if you can get 2 to 3 hours in the morning and 2 to 3 hours in the evening of a continuous supply of that should be fine with good storage facility. But 20 to 30 lakhs, irrespective of the budget for the thing, you require the power, you require the lift and the parking facilities on that. So it's a matter of check on both these particular property, which are the ones which, of course, Jayashree and Magicbricks can throw light on that, those properties.
So water and power supply are not premium facilities. These are basic facilities, and no matter what budget you have, people are looking for it. There is a person from the NCR who has a budget of 1 crore and is looking to purchase a ready-to-move-in property with possession in 6 months, preferably 1400 square feet. Now, look at what he says. He wants to stay for 3 to 4 years and move later to a bigger place. But what he wants to know is the resale value has to be good. So he's looking for water, electricity, covered parking, and security. This is again asking for the right thing. Water and electricity have to be good if you have to get good resale value. You have to have a covered parking and security, another main issue if you have to look for long-term value. We would be happy to give you many options, but we will take it after this webinar. There is a consumer who says that he, from Amit Sood from Hyderabad, he saw a property in Suleiman Nagar, Attapur village, Rajendra Nagar, Hyderabad, and the resident said it can be registered. But the authority is saying this land belongs to the government. Can he buy it on notary? Is it a safe purchase? Mr. Suresh, what should he do?
Not at all. What you should do is absolutely, this is a non-negotiable important information and documentation. Your very rights on property will depend upon the right level of titles for the land along with the property. That when you're buying it as a document there, you should be absolutely clear. There shouldn't be any gray area here. And we got to ensure that we should have the due diligence on this particular thing done for this particular requirement. And you got to just get it done. There is no other alternative of, it's not an area where you can think of 90% done or 80%. It's got to be 100% clean document on that.
Absolutely. Property titles is a very big factor when it comes to the resale value of your property and therefore your returns on investment. Very quickly, we would sum up this whole thing by saying, Mr. Suresh.
Yeah, participating governance is an important component. Not only the public sector, namely the local body or a municipal corporation, the private sector who is building the particular one, you, the consumer, the people, are all supposed to work together. The public-private people's participation, partnership together. If all the five P's come together, then you have good performance to back up on the overall product. So participative governance is just two words, but that means a hell of a lot of things together, all putting the talmail together in a large way. And of course, if you want to do that, the local municipal corporation and the water authorities, power authorities, telecom authorities also have got to do, because the 74th Amendment provides for all that and for all the services. But is it working? Is it a private sector or public sector body gives utility service performing those services? We got to insist on that. And more importantly, all this can happen only when everything is planned and pushed up for implementation in your particular project over there. And citizens have got to be very active as a consumer, but also a group of blocks together to affect the neighborhood, the citizen. You can work together. Many times results have come when they put your action together. And last and most important thing is adherence to rules and shunning those properties that violate any of the regulation. You may gain in the short term, in a short run period, but in the long time it will chase you and you get problems after 10 years, 20 years. So better get these things cleaned up.
Thank you, users, for participating, and now we will be open to questions. Neha, we can take questions now.
Jayashree, we have a lot of queries flooding in. Let's start with the first query, where I can see Keshav from Jaipur is asking, the rule for keeping 70% sale proceeds in separate account for timely delivery of the project. How helpful will this be?
It's a thing which is in the regulator's document. It's primarily to ensure that the whatever money is collected for a particular property is utilized for the implementation of the property. Whether that should be 70 or some other figure is the decision that each regulator will decide on that. At the end of the day, it is only to take care of the consumer protection to see that the particular money that you have paid over is utilized in that particular project, and you see the physical progress along with the financial progress that's already happening.
Right. Let's take Jay Sharma from Delhi. How is the real estate market reacting to the real estate regulation bill, which is meant to safeguard the interests of buyers in money?
By and large, it's a positive one. After all, at the end of the day, the good builders are equally concerned about producing property of which they are proud of, and they got a good track record for doing that, and therefore also to protect the interest of the consumers, because they are buying property with a price and they should be able to get the type of services required on that. The only area which I found that there are any number of regulators there, like the telecom regulator, power regulators, and all other regulators. This is only one regulator where any offence is taken as criminal offence. That's not there in other regulators for related service on that. It's an issue we'll have to see how it finally takes the shape. Even it's in the parliament, so therefore it is not right on our part to pass a judgmental view on this particular thing. But otherwise, all builders are welcoming the need for a good regulator. We can take a level playing field to be provided, good transparent information to all the consumers on what they buy and at what value they are getting it.
In fact, at a recent consultative committee meeting on the new RERA bill, one of the even one of the consultants had pointed out that we should leave criminal action aside and leave that to the courts to implement. If there is criminal action, the court is always a route that you can take. But a regulator should have civil.
Yes, I think so. That's my view on that particular thing as well.
Okay. There is Yash from UP who says, how will the bill boost both domestic and foreign investment in the real estate sector and help achieve the objective of housing for all by 2022?
Positively, absolutely, because this really brings in a substantial amount of discipline on the nature of products being done. For example, the bill really brings a large number of good information of to sell only after all the approvals in place, which is also already an issue that we brought out in the issue, and also the right level of areas being brought in over there so that people don't have any doubts on this particular thing, the price at which you are able to get that, and advertisement being brought out, they are not nefarious one. They actually reflect the real situation on those particular things. Therefore, from our point of view, it will get the direct message for investors within the country and abroad, and also users to put their money on that. I would say I don't see any area negative in that. It's a win-win for all.
We've got Keshav from Jaipur saying the rule of keeping 70% sales proceeds in a separate account for timely delivery of the project. How helpful will
I think we covered that. We already covered we covered that.
We've got Tarun from Mumbai saying, will the sale proceeds provide a fair preview to the home buyers?
I think so. I am not able to exactly get the.
I am not sure what you have said, Tarun, but if what you mean is that
utilizing the funds for the project, yes, the answer is yes.
If the consumers are regularly paying their money into the developers, and the developer uses that to construct the development, I think that is the idea, and that is how the Indian market has functioned. In fact, the last 2 years slowdown has had an impact on developers because the consumer money, which regularly comes in,
cash flows got
the cash flows got seriously impacted. If there's something else that you meant, Tarun, please feel free to ask again. We'll be happy to take your question. There's Kumar from Hyderabad who says the government will be grading the developers on the basis of project delivered. How tough or easy is this going to be for the real estate market, as everyone is concerned about the impression?
I think it will be a larger good one to take care of there are developers and developers. You know, in every situation over there, the gradation component is a very relative term for each location context and by the state or city regulators to deal with the particular. At the end of the day, the track record of the builder is a thing that will stand on its own. Whether they give it on time, in cost, in quality, and more importantly, least amount of defects and least amount of legal and other hazards. And that's a thing which will stand on its own. Whether the government itself wants to do that particular role is a larger issue on that. If it comes through well and good, if there are any number of rating systems available through the CRISIL and ICRA of the builder's ability rating there, which is one way of doing. They also have a similar type of rating system. On the green buildings, you have a rating system of platinum, gold, and silver. These are a third-party information that will be useful for the particular market, and there should be a way by which it should be very transparently known why somebody is put in A grade or B grade or C grade. But at the end of the day, the good ones will be the ones who will be getting the project, and their demand will go, their properties appreciation will come because they're taking care of all the requirements.
That's right. And today people don't know figuring out what ratings actually mean. We've got Rawat from Noida who says, what impact will these rule changes bring in the project delivery time? Will it upgrade and will it help the developers complete their projects of a better quality?
Very good question. Rawat has raised a very important question. It is very necessary for everybody to know that one of the major reasons is the large amount of time delay for approval that is taking place. You have approvals from various, as much as roughly around 50 odd regulatory agencies, which are the central government level, 5 or 6 of them. You have state government level, then the local level for various service and regulatory authorities. Normally, about 2 months time period is a good one. There are many cases where the projects do not get the approval for as long as about 2 years and more. We keep on saying, whereas in Singapore you get in 29 days, Taiwan you get in about 30 days time, Hong Kong you are able to get about 31 days. We are still around the 60 to 600 days one. Ease of doing business in India for all these approvals is a major concern. So the regulator, when they comes in the particular place over there, equally they got to put the thing, not the owners only on the builder and the consumer, but also the agencies which have to give the approvals on that. So if you want the thing to be done on time, most of the cases things do not start unless all the approvals come. And even if the approvals, you don't get the completion, your occupancy certificate, your water connection, your lift installation, power for the power authority, etc. So all these are important components which will be doing good only. You'll be able to deliver the particular product over there. So it has got some which the authorities have to do for reducing the time limit, and the other one is the good developers should have good project implementation capability to do it on time, cost, and quality.
Hina from Delhi, Saket says, how is FDI going to benefit the real estate sector?
Very well. It's an additional component of funding. We are large amount of, for information, in the Indian financial market, I've been watching it from 1990. That's where the real housing finance market really grew up. We were doing around 5,000 crores per year was a total disbursement coming from all housing finance institutions put together. But the last count that we have from the 64 housing finance companies and the banking sector, it has already crossed 2 lakh crores of disbursal, 2 lakh crores of disbursal per year. So, but in spite of that particular thing, for the housing for all agenda in the country, we require investments of the order of roughly around 4.5 to 5 lakh crores of money if you have to do housing for all for the high income, middle income, the low income, and the weaker section component. So there will be some money coming from the government as grant component under some of this program or the Prime Minister's Awas Yojana. You will have some money coming to the state housing program. So others will be contribution by beneficiaries or the consumers and the financial institution. But the FDI money will be extremely useful, especially at the builders level, because they are going to invest in the particular thing of foreign direct investment, and that 100% FDI is now allowed in the particular project. The government has to be congratulated for opening the particular investment, because you require a lot of equity money for buying land along with the short-term money of 3 years or 4 years money. Whereas long-term money of retail home loan finance is done by housing finance companies. FDI will not be useful for that particular thing. FDI will be useful for the project level who are taking up the project for short-term investment needs. It will be very positive. Comparatively, it will also be at the cost which is lower than the other cost of the other way they have to go the market borrowing cost for dealing with that particular area. Only one area you got to really take into account is the foreign exchange fluctuation and a high volatile market, because what you have to repay back, or it's also an issue of a borrowing that comes over there. You should be able to have a good amount of hedging mechanism to take care of that money. It's a positive thing. It's like a knife which can cut both ways, good and bad. So you got to be keeping track of the particular thing. What you're getting is in dollars or in pounds or in marks or in yen. You got to repay that particular thing back over there. What will happen 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line? These currencies, these are Indian rupees. The only concern there. Otherwise, we should welcome it.
And remember, Hina, when FDI comes in, it's more like a techno-financial regime. The person who puts in the money will also have a stake in ensuring that the project goes on time. So, how does it benefit the consumer? The mindless delays that have happened over the last few years by many developers, that will also be taken care of, because there's somebody monitoring that the project is going on time. And another thing is that here the developer will not stop a project for shortage of cash, because the cash is going to the project and that developer has access to finance. So these are two things that the consumer can understand.
We are expanding the financial basket. Not only from they are from the housing finance company. Your scheduled banks are available. The third and most important component, non-banking finance company and microfinance institute are the fourth at that one level. And another major component we should open out. India has not done it. India should do it. like what Singapore has done, US has done, Europe has done, opening the pension fund, provident fund, insurance fund. They are long-term money available. All of the money in the country are short-term money. You have to lend it long. Your asset liability mismatch between short-term borrowing and long-term lending. So we have to get this money, and that's exactly what Singapore has done, using the provident fund money in a big way, pension fund in a large way in the US finance market, and the insurance money in the European housing finance market. India has still not done it. We got to do that also, along with the FDA and other related issues.
Diana from Noida says construction companies and builders are demanding some charges in the real estate regulation and development bill. How will these charges benefit affect the real estate sector as well as consumers?
As long as it's transparently identified that that particular thing is for a service to be rendered, there's no issue. Because if it's going to have a water connection, a sewer connection, or an electricity connection, or a maintenance corpus money, etc., etc., if it's clearly identified, these should all be clearly indicated right in the beginning when you're getting into a property purchase over there. If it is done, no issue, because then you are aware of the money paid for a specific services. That's what the consumers want. What is the consideration and what is the service to be rendered for that? If that particular is documented clearly, it should not be ad hoc. So that should be brought out, and that should be the thing that the Anandji should take care.
We've got Purushottam Channa saying, how are circle rates decided in Delhi area? Does one need to adhere to these rates, and why?
Well, it's a good reflector of the property values. Circle rates are done by the government to indicate what are the benchmark values of a property, how much has gone up. There are different names available in different parts of the country. In Mumbai, it's got a different name. In Chennai, you've got a different name. Circle rates are here. At the end of the day, it is an official recognition of what is the value of the property, land plus the building thereof. For each locality, will keep on changing there. So it is a good indication to do that. Normally, it is a reflection of the laws, registrations or other things that have happened over there. Land values are taken into account, the property values are taken into account. It's a fairly good indicator of what it is. Normally, governments will not boost it beyond the particular. There are certain situations I am aware. So the question directly which has come there, where certain amount of property registrations happen below the particular value over there. So in such cases, you have to pay the stamp duty based on the rates which are already there. So that's the negative aspect as the consumer is concerned.
Right.
So,
in fact, we did a study of the last couple of revamp of the circle rates in Delhi and Bangalore, and we found that there were premium areas where the rates, the stamp duty, the circle rates had gone above the transacted rates, and that seemed a little unfair to buyers, and that actually impacted the volume of.
They do have to correct it to the next round.
We've got Somnath Mitra from Gurgaon saying, how to leverage crowdsourcing for governance of ULB?
Very good. It's a very good question Somnath has raised over there, and I think he has brought in a very interesting point. He just says that it don't depend only on the government of India money, whether smart city project or the 500 cities under the Amrut project or any one of them. It is just not central government money and the state government money and some loan coming from financial institution, but people can also contribute. So crowdsourcing is a very important component, and I'm glad this has been raised over there. Like crowdsourcing money is there for the industry, equity component which is coming over there, where everybody participates in the particular thing, success of enterprise over there. Real estate and city development is also an important component. And therefore, Somnath has touched the jugular, and I'm sure over the years, whether all the funding of all these big projects over there, the crowdsourcing will be an important component of funding for that as well. Because you're going to give it to the product, which will also give you the right return.
We've got Sukriti saying that the government will be grading the developers on the basis of project delivered. How tough or easy is this going to be for the real estate market, as everyone is concerned about the impression?
It is. No two opinions on that. That is where you require very competent people and good measurable indicators to deal with that particular assessment, to do grading. How can you do grading? After all, if you have good question papers based on the answers coming over there, I should be able to give the mark. Is it 90 and above, 80 and above, A grade, B grade, C grade, D grade? So you require the right level of framework to deal with that. Everybody should know the rules of the game. You can't shift the goalposts now and then, depending upon what you want and the whims or fancies. When everybody knows, then accordingly they will act, they will perform, then they are ready to subject themselves to the particular test. Like all our students at all levels, school level to college level to graduate, doctorate level, they're all depending upon the particular gradation, isn't it? It's good. Most important thing is everybody should know the rules of the game. The framework should be known, how they assess that particular thing, and what are the parameters or components that we keep in you to give 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, etc., etc.
So actually, what comes through is that there, not only should you have a grading mechanism, but you also need a large amount of public awareness building about the grading.
Absolutely. Open and transparent.
Open and transparent, so that you would know what your what is being measured. Hemant from Navi Mumbai says, how is HUDCO helping the government to build smart cities across the country?
Well, I can't directly answer that, but then where it can, because I've been earlier in HUDCO as a CMD of HUDCO, substantially it can contribute on that. Because since you are from Navi Mumbai, I can indicate that, Hemant, that substantial amount of work in Navi Mumbai has happened over there, where HUDCO has given its assistance, be it the Airoli Bridge across the river, or all those wonderful railway stations between Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, which opened out the whole connectivity at the water supply scheme, landed area development component for water supply, sewerage, drainage, area development. Initial funding has gone to CIVCO from HUDCO side. So now, similarly, when the smart city project is going to come up, which has got all these components together, physical infrastructure, economic infrastructure, social infrastructure, for all those facilities, HUDCO as an agency has got the capacity and the bandwidth to make the funding, which can be utilized by the implementing agency or the special purpose vehicle, and then subsequently after delivering the thing, they can get it from the consumers and give back the money to HUDCO. HUDCO can have a very major role. It has got the right vision and the capability to do that particular work for not only funding the smart city projects, but also the 500 projects under the cities coming under the Amrut cities, about 1 lakh plus population as well.
I think Purushottam Channa has asked something about deciding.
From where?
I'm not sure. We got half a question, but I think what he's actually opened up is the open spaces around any project.
Wonderful. I think it's a topic which unfortunately in our particular initial one we missed out. The greening and the open space is a very important component. I think Jayashree did mention to you that we missed that. I'm glad Mr. Purushottam has raised that. In addition to all those pipes and water and electricity and all that, one of the important thing in any particular thing is the greening effect. The parks and the playgrounds and other facilities, the trees, the gardens, etc. are an important component there. As you know, today Singapore is one of the best cities, and you'll be shocked to know it is no more a garden within a city. It is a city within a garden. The whole thing is 40% of the whole city is absolutely green, horizontally and vertically in a very large way. Figuratively, I mean that. Also, physically, also mean that. So, therefore, Purushottam has rightly raised a question: how will you maintain that particular gardens and green? Because that also takes care of the carbon dioxide absorption into the trees. Will do that. You'll also get clean air, oxygen coming for you to go around, walk around, move around in the morning, etc. It's a lung. It's a good lung for your city.
Yeah, Jayashree, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Purushottam has actually sent the query in 2 parts, where the first part where you missed, he's saying, does government play any role in deciding open spaces in any project? That's what I can
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The development control rules, planning standards and building bylaws necessitate that you shall provide at least so much percentage of your layout for providing open spaces and greens and gardens, and that's a non-negotiable thing. You won't get an approval. So that government does that particular one. Many builders do it even beyond that particular area. For example, the minimum that India is still doing is 3 square meter per person in any township, whereas Singapore has put as 8 square meter per person. So whether we'll be able to come up to that level, I'm not sure. But over a period of time, India also, when it graduates on this learning curve of urban development, we'll also push it up to the from minimum to excellence when you achieve on that. So there is a role, and that has got to be insisted upon and maintained as green, and not to get it approved as a green or an open space and later on build upon that particular. Many builders get into some problem on that. We should insist that. And more importantly, once the project is completed and handed over, the RWAs and asset and facility management team should have clear amount of funds required to maintain the trees and parks and gardens and everything with the right level of landscape architects, horticulture team to maintain water rates, prune it down periodically, maintain that. It's just like a baby or a thing growing up. You got to continuously nurture and nurse that particular thing for making the green. I mean, silently. The answer is a big yes. But initially, government will play the role. Subsequently, builder will do. Third level will be asset and facility management companies.
Now, one of the things that I should tell you here is why would you look for more green space per person? The green spaces, the amount of space that you have within for usable space, your own private space is limited. But you, as an individual in an urban scenario, you need some amount of breathing space, and this green space is designed to be public spaces, which allows you to allows the citizens to relieve
walking track,
jogging track, and so on. It relieves urban stress. In fact, recently the mayor of Copenhagen was mentioning that she is constantly looking for more and more public spaces to open up, waterfront parks, greening of any area that is unutilized, which can be used as small park areas, maybe a swing here, a small walking area, skating tracks along the
in fact, if I can go further, the National Building Code of India 2015 version further makes stronger of landscaping an important component of the particular, along with structural safety, fire safety, health safety, life safety, public safety, electric safety, environment safety. Most important softer issue of landscaping and the greening. Even the 17 items which is coming under the Sustainable Development Goals approved by 193 countries, one of the most important components, open space and green. This year's United Nations Center for Human Settlements Habitats, one of the major, the theme of the thing is public spaces and open spaces, and how to keep that. And vitality of the citizens and the community goes up if you are able to do that in a big way.
And therefore, Purushottam, you raised a very, very important issue. We've got Reema from Ghaziabad saying construction companies and builders are demanding some charges. I think
we have covered that.
We just covered.
We covered that.
We've got Somnath Mitra from Gurgaon.
We have done that.
We've done that.
Crowdsourcing. This also we covered.
Yeah.
Neha can chip in if you
I am Prem from Navi Mumbai. I want to know what action did the government take on illegal construction in Navi Mumbai?
Whether it is Navi Mumbai, any part of the country, if it's illegal, you should have good enforcement. Simple as that. You can't be soft on those areas. Otherwise, rules doesn't have any particular purpose on that. If you have a good governance coming on that, you will ensure that all the approvals will come as per the rules and the framework for that particular city is concerned under the, as I said, the planning standards, building regulation, the building regulation, plus also the National Building Code and other related documents there. If somebody does that beyond that, if you can permit 10 floors and suddenly you've done 17 floors, but obviously you can knock it out. Or if you have done a particular project without any approval itself, it's on a land which is not supposed to be buildable, obviously it has got to be enforced on that. There are laws, each government mechanism we do, finally, when they do something like that, the press and everybody comes very heavily that they come openly demolished everybody and is on the street, etc. This is where citizens also will have to participate in a very active way. They are doing the right thing. So each government or the local body responds to it in a very different way depending on some of the human level issues. In one particular case, you are aware in Mumbai, very close, where one of the building went to the Supreme Court. Everything else was demolished over there. The intervention came at the level that even though things were wrong, don't demolish that till we get alternate accommodation for all those people over there. You know, you are aware of the White House building where upper floors were to be knocked off for. So this is a larger issue on which we require an answer of and it's all a matter of enforcement issues.
Yes, and I think Dean, what you must understand is that if the government is tough on illegal construction, and which means that there is a planning that happens. The city development plans evolve, and those city development plans take into consideration how much built area there is. There are formulae
open spaces,
between open spaces, between setbacks, and so on. And there is a formula that is applied. Illegal construction ruins that formula. What happens is that just because a couple of people are insensitive to the needs of the others, the entire citizenry is inconvenienced. Therefore, it is very important to take action against illegal construction.
Vigilant we should be.
You should be vigilant, and citizens vigilance is vigilant groups is very important, because you are the eyes and ears, and you are the most impacted. So you can go back to the municipal authorities and say, please ensure that this kind of illegal construction does not happen. This happened in Thane, when a very, very powerful municipal commissioner, he demolished only illegal constructions, mind you, but he demolished every illegal construction.
He opened a way to bid for the road, good roads provided, safety, security improved over there, and finally, initially he must have got some brick back, but he got bouquet at the end of the day. You know, it's a matter of anything of this nature will not be like, but later on when it was shown that it was done, a negative job done, wrong job done, that's why it got removed, and keeping the rules of the game in impact and implemented rightly.
And there was a woman mayor in a South Indian city in Andhra Pradesh who actually told the consumers, if you have constructed, if you have grabbed land, public land, we need to broaden the street. So if you can show us that your titles are clear, we will compensate you more than what the actual compensation is. But if your property is illegal and you have moved into public spaces, please push back, and the government, the mayor announced.
If not, we'll be forced to.
Either the government will be forced to push it back, or if you comply and say that yes, I defaulted, but I'm pushing back, the government assured them that they would rebuild the front walls for them. What a wonderful way to mobilize public opinion.
PPV. 5 Ps.
The 5 Ps in motion, and finally it was performance: better streets, wider streets, and less traffic jams. This is the kind of participation that is required from citizenry. Let's go on to the next question. Manoj from Delhi says, the realty market often complained and blamed the government regarding the clearance of their projects. Now, when this has also been sorted out as promoting single window clearance, how effective will this be for the market?
It has not been resolved, Manoj. Manoj, is an intention of everybody to see that by making it single window, that means whatever approval you require from Delhi, whatever you get from the state government or the local bodies over there, I go and give all the applications in one window, in one office. It should go there. It's happening in Chicago. It's happening incidentally in India. It's also happening in one city of Rajkot. But it does not happen in a large number of cities. A single window, each one says to come to me for that one approval of my window. Fire fellow says you come to me. Okay, and the electrical inspectorate will say come to me. The lift inspectors say come to me. Environment people will say go to that particular window there. So it has really not happened the way you said it has already come. The government is pushing forward, and the central government is trying to make ease of doing business easier. There is a group which is also working, the Minister for Urban Development is already trying to see how large number of approvals from the government departments like Environment and Forest Department, the Civil Aviation Department for the height clearance from the airport, the requirements of the defense land clearance, as well as the other approvals. All of them they're trying to see put it back down. Give the information down through the right database to the local body, so that that function which is coming to each of the central government office also goes down to the local body to give the approval. That's the way it should happen. Delhi, you would know the difference between MCD and the NCT government and the central government. But if you go to any other states with large number of cities outside, you'll understand they'll have to come to state capital to get it for a city like Kolhapur or Sholapur into Mumbai for the state approvals or that. So it does not happen. It is a thing where everybody is working on. As I said, the ease of doing business, you got to bring it down to the 6 days down to 60 days, if not the 30 days, which is the international. We were as low as 182 out of 187 countries for ease of doing business for giving the building plan approval. We have come down to 157 as per the latest count over there. We got to come down to within the top 10. But that is a long way. To get all the approval within 60 days, to me, is what is desirable, what should happen. It can happen. It is not impossible, but it can be made happen, provided all the authorities put together, put their hand together, put their head together, and see some of their functions. They should not keep it closely to the heart. Leave it down to the local bodies. Then the single window will work on that.
And today, all governments, I think, at the center, state, and the cities, are working towards making this happen, but it hasn't happened yet. Let's take Mahant from Pune, who says, do private banks provide home loan for an unapproved property? Mahant, you should not buy unapproved property. period. We're talking about how a legal regime, legality of documents.
In your own interest.
In your own interest, in the interest of the bank, I don't think we even need to consider a question like this. Do not go for.
You should not even ask for it.
Right. Let's take Megha from Patna who says, what is the progress of the Greater Noida Metro project? Megha, actually you have to, it has been, the lines have been aligned. I think there is a lot of progress as far as policy is going on, but has it taken off on the ground? Not yet. It will take a while, and remember, even after it starts, the work starts, it takes at least 5 years for a metro line to work, to be completed. So we are talking about at least 2020 or 22.
On track is the right word.
Yeah.
It is on track. It will come through.
Let's go on to the next question. Upadhyay from Kolkata says, what are you expecting from the upcoming budget in terms of the real estate sector?
You can start, then I'll chip in later. What?
Okay.
I'll tell.
I think right now, Upadhyay, what is happening is there is a lot of the first thing that everyone wants to see is the RERA bill, the real estate regulator bill. Can the ground rules?
Even though it's not part of the budget. It's not part of budget. It's a parliamentary act, but it's not part of finance minister's budget. Okay.
But why is that important? Once you set the ground rules, then there can be a lot of play around the financial, the allocations that can come. Another thing that is expected is that the affordable housing, approval processes, and things like this. Maybe there will be a mention in the budget how the processes can be put in place. The smart cities, there can be a lot more around the smart cities and the SEZs. SEZs is another thing that we are talking about. Let me hand it over to Mr. Suresh.
Yeah, I think both the things, whether it is the RERA bill or whether ease of approval, JT sir cannot put that in the budget. We can only talk about what the financial instruments are there, which is what the budget will talk about. Essentially, what you need to put is make housing finance attractive, affordable, accessible. All the three are important. It was there already earlier, but not accessible to the low income and the weaker section group. The interest subvention that the new government has brought in over there of 6.5% is a very major thing to all those groups over there to get it at 6.5% lower than the market value of say about 9% or 10%. FSCL is coming to the US rate of housing finance about 3.5%. That's a very major thing. But to middle income and the low income and the high income group, we should be able to get the interest paid on the housing loan. We get up to 2 lakhs. Can we increase that to a little more so that to that extent your net rate of interest will come down on that money that you pay interest? You don't have to pay income tax, which definitely comes as an effect on this particular one. Can we bring back the famous earlier provision which was there during the 2000 period, Vajpayee Sab's time of bring the AG1H into getting into private sector contributing to the housing to get the tax benefit of the particularly of 600 square feet, 800 square feet house over there would be a very major thing. You'll be very shocked to know that in the cost of the housing over there, 32% of the cost is going only on taxation. It's good news to hear GST will be brought down to as level of 18%. Is very important. Your sales tax, your VAT component, your excise duty, customs duty, all that. 32% of the cost of construction is only due to taxation. So if I am able to reduce that, part of it will lie in the hand of the federal government. Part of it will also lie in the state governments to have the state one. Once GST comes, it will take care of that. So that's another major area which we can get into this particular thing. To get in, the long-term funds is an important component, which can be worked out, which provident fund, pension fund, insurance fund, the budget can really open out on that. And more importantly, since you talked about the smart cities component, bonds are important. Smart city bonds, infrastructure bonds, the sanitation bonds. This is one way by which you can bring increasing investment. This tax-free facility. That's important. That means people will invest in these particular things, which is also a part of crowdfunding, which one of the gentlemen asked a little earlier. So we got to get substantial amount of funding to come in this area, because my own calculation is that for every 500 crores coming from central government and 500 coming from the state government, 1,000 crores for each smart city, it's not enough. You look at least of the order of around 15,000 crores for each of the smart cities. So where will you get the remaining 14,000 crores? Not for the central government money and the state government money alone and the local government. You got to find out this additional money, and therefore taxation and the budget can open out substantial way by which investment come in this particular area and make it increasingly what can I say, attractive for people to invest in that particular one and also get the right level of returns in that area. So taxation, the budget is a very important component. It's a good instrument to drive real estate and also housing and other property values also in a very large way, in a positive way.
There could be a spelling out of the 2022 target also. How to reach the 2022 target?
Absolutely. The 20 million houses to be done in the next about 7 years time period, around 3 million houses to be done each year. They'll break it down, and therefore the budget also can be a very major instrument through which they can bring in some of those particular results or on the taxation related issue, fiscal issues or taxation related issues. There will be various components coming, and also access to housing finance.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Suresh. We can just take up a last query if we want. After that, we'll be closing the session.
Yeah, okay. We'll go to Anahita from Manesar, who says, I purchased a property in 2012. The loan was sanctioned by HDFC. Now, when I tried to resell the property, I was told that the LIC, told by the LIC that this property doesn't have approval. We also paid property tax for this property. What options do we have?
Very limited. If you don't have an approval earlier, I'm rather surprised it couldn't have happened. If HDFC has given a loan, they would not have done without the approval. But in any case, you have stated a problem on that. You got to really work faster to see how soon you can get all the approvals in place for anybody to take over, like you, for that matter, anybody else. And if not everybody in your own interest, that property that you're going to have should have all the approvals in place. Full stop. There's no negotiation on that.
And while we do have queries still coming in, we'll be happy to take those offline and post it on our forum. Do keep visiting our forum. We will have experts like Mr. Suresh and Mr. Suresh himself answering queries for us on the forum. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really thankful to our guest speakers for conducting this webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on Magicbricks by tomorrow. Thank you all. Signing off, moderator Neha Nagpal. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. This is rapid fire. We didn't even give a minute.
I know. So many queries today.
Let the girls answer.
I can see at least 4 questions that we haven't answered. But
you should know that there are 5, 6, 4. So many. You've seen keeping on coming.
And people's names are there.